Hi.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'm Angie. Ian's behind the camera today. There he is.
Behind the camera.
He is behind the camera. And we are Yoga Moksha. And we have a few videos on YouTube at the moment. But we haven't put any
Whoopee.
yoga on there. But we're going to put one up, obviously, because you're watching it. There's a little sequence for pregnancy.
Sequins. Says.
Yeah, so if you're over the first trimester and everything's okay, then these exercises will benefit you quite a lot. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do. So there's going to be a little warm-up and then 3 poses, if you want to put a label on them, 3 asana, and then there's a really nice meditation right at the end, which we've named Smile to Your Baby meditation.
Cool.
And through the whole of this sequence, we are going to visualize making space in the body using the breath. And we connect to the breath, thereby you connect to your baby. So, without further ado, we shall begin. So if you want to come to standing, and we'll begin with a warm-up. Hi, so we're starting in a standing position, Tadasana, and you can either have the feet hip distance apart, or if it's more comfortable you can bring them a little bit further apart, depending on what's comfortable for you. So we're just going to begin by connecting to our breath. So place your hands on the belly, drop the shoulders, let them go. Let the lower half of the body be heavy, and then the spine just gently moves upwards. So we're not creating tension, but we're just letting the body be in its natural state. So the hands are on the belly. If you want to here, you can close the eyes, but make sure you're not going to fall over. And we're just going to breathe. So we're going to take 8 breaths. And when you breathe in, I want you to let the breath hit the bottom of your lungs. So your stomach rises, and as you exhale, the belly contracts. So we're taking 8 breaths here with the hands on the belly. Relax the shoulders. And as you breathe, try and feel the back of your lungs expanding as well. Breathing through the nose, with the mouth closed if that's comfortable. So we're connecting to our breath. Two more breaths. And release the hands, open the eyes. So we're going to take that connection with the breath and we're going to bring some movement into it. So it's a very simple movement, and all we're going to do is we're going to move the arms up can look up here if that's comfortable, and then we're moving the arms down. And then we're moving the arms out to the front. Again, you can look up here and then back down. And then we're coming out to the side again and down. So we're going to do that with the breath. Again, we're going to do 8 of those. And try and make the movement synchronise with the breath. So everyone breathes at different rate. So some people prefer to breathe slowly, other people breathe a little bit quicker. So it's all about finding what's right for you, finding your breath rate, and then your movement. It's like you ride the wave of the breath with the movement. Okay. So again, lower half of the body is moving down, spine's gently moving up. So again, you can close your eyes here if you want to, it's just an option. So we're going to begin the inhale and begin the movement. Moving with the breath, keep the lower half of the body relaxed and strong, and the arms are light, so there's no tension through the arms or the shoulders, it's just the body moving with the breath. Don't worry if your shoulders are making clicky noises, that's just air. Okay, and then we're going to come to the front, breathing in, exhale, inhaling, and exhaling. So a little visualization you can do here as you breathe in. Imagine that every cell in your body is expanding, and then as you exhale, you let the body relax into a softness. Breathing in, exhale, inhaling, expanding, exhale, releasing into softness. Just going to do one more. Inhale and exhale. Let the arms go. Take a couple of breaths. You can close the eyes here if you want to reconnect with your body. You can place the hands on the belly. Breathe. Hi, so we're still in the warm-up. So the next thing we're going to do is really nice because it builds energy in the body and it also lets go of any tension through the body through making sound with the mouth. So again, bring your feet either hip distance apart or a little bit wider, whatever's comfortable for you. And all we're going to do is we're just going to shake out the body. So it's a little tiny pulse in the knees. So we're not bending the knees and straightening them, it's just a little tiny pulse. And then the rest of the body follows. So relax through the shoulders, relax. My voice is about to go funny, excuse me. So, you relax through the shoulders and the arms, head. We're just letting it go, and then we bring in the sound. Let it go through the shoulders and the arms, hands, the head. Don't be scared of making noise. If it makes you laugh, then you can laugh. And we're coming back to centre. Place the hands on the belly. Notice how the shoulders are more relaxed. And feel the energy that's running up through the body. Here you can close the eyes. And breathe. Breathe into the belly. Let the breath move right down to the base of the belly. Open the eyes, relax the arms. Hi. So the next exercise we're going to do is heel raises, which is really good for your feet. When you're pregnant, all the ligaments and the tendons in your body and your muscles all kind of relax. There is a hormone which runs through your body when you're pregnant, which makes everything relax. But it includes the arches of your feet. So to stop your arches dropping, you're going to do heel raises. It's also really good for getting the circulation going through the calf muscles, which can be an area that you might find you have a lot of cramp in during pregnancy. Because your body works hard, you know, if you walk a lot when you're pregnant, it can take its toll on your feet and on your legs. So we're going to work on strengthening the feet, calf muscles and the legs, just doing this little exercise. So if your balance isn't good, you can come against a wall or a door. Make sure you let people know you're working against the door, otherwise they'll try and come in. So either a wall or a door, or if your balance is good, you can do this just in the middle of the room. So all we're going to do is, if you're against the wall or the door, just bring your buttocks against the wall. And all we're going to do is we're going to raise the heels up, so you come onto the balls of the feet, the shoulders are relaxed, the arms are relaxed. So the only part that's really working are your feet, your calf muscles and your thighs. And then we relax, come back down. So if you want to bring the breathing in, inhaling as you come up, exhale as you come down. So we're breathing. So you can do as many of these as you want. You can do them through the day. While you're standing in the queue at the checkout, for example, you can do this. We're just going to do 8 of these. So this is 4. Exhale down. 5. Try and keep the back relaxed, but nice and elongated, relaxing the shoulders. Breathing in, coming up. So you'll be feeling it in your calf muscles. That's good because it's getting the working, getting oxygen to the calves. Breathing in and relax. Last one. And down. And just step away from the wall. And breathe. Hands come to the belly. Open your eyes and relax the hands.
1.
So the next one we're going to do is we're going to stretch out the hamstrings, which again is another place where you could get a little bit of cramp from walking, carrying your child. So again, if you want to, you can come to the wall or a doorway, or you can do this in the middle of the room. And if you have problems with keeping your hips level, I suggest you stay against the wall, so then you have an awareness through the hips. So we're bringing the feet either together or just a little bit apart. We're going to bring the hands to the waist. And we're going to breathe in. And then as you breathe out, we're going to bend the left knee so it's moving forward over the toes. And then we're slowly keeping the buttocks against the wall. We're just going to move down so you can feel the stretch on the back of the right hamstring. So I'm just going to show you this away from the wall. So keeping the hips level, moving the left knee over the toes. And then the further you come down, keeping the back nice and long, so we're not arching the spine. You can feel that stretch down the hamstring. It's quite nice. Another option here, if your balance isn't good, is you can have a chair in front of you and hold the back of a chair. So we're going to breathe in to come up, straighten the left knee, and then breathe in. Breathe out, we're going to bend the right knee over the toes, slowly coming down, forward, hands on the hips, keep that awareness there. Take a couple of breaths, feel the stretch up the back of that left hamstring. Inhale to come up. So again, you can do as many of these as you wish. We're just going to do a couple because it's quite an intense stretch. Okay, so breathe in. Breathe out, we're bending the left knee. Coming forward. Breathing out. Feel that stretch. Hold it there for a couple of breaths. And as you breathe in, imagine the back of your hamstring is expanding. And then as you breathe in, to come up. Just relaxing. So doing the other side. Bending that right knee over the toes. Breathe in. Breathe out. As we come forward, just to a point where you can feel that stretch. Breathing. Expanding the back of the hamstring on the inhale. And as you exhale, it releases and becomes soft. Inhale to come up. And relax the hands by your side. Bring the hands to the belly. And again, close the eyes. Just take a couple of breaths. Breathing. Release the hands, open the eyes. Hi. So this time we're going to focus on the shoulders. Shoulder, neck ache can be a common thing again for anybody, but especially during pregnancy. Especially if you're carrying bags and things on your shoulders. So we're going to start just with some shoulder rolls, and then we're going to move on to stretching out the neck a little bit. So I'm going to turn around so you can see what the shoulders are doing when they're moving. So you can rest the hands, arms by the side, and they're relaxed. And we're going to breathe in, and we're going to bring the shoulders forward, up, and back. So you can release on the exhale as we come back. So we breathe in and come up, and breathe out as you relax. Breathe in, squeeze the shoulder blades together, breathe out and relax. Breathe in and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to go back the other way. So we're bringing the shoulder blades back, squeeze them together, coming up, forward. So we breathe in and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in and out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Keep that going. We'll do 2 more. Again, you can do as many of these as you feel comfortable with. So we've loosened out the shoulders. So we're going to work on stretching out the neck. So it's just a little movements. And we're going to bring the chin towards the chest. And you can breathe there. We're going to breathe in as we bring the head up. Exhale. And just let the head drop back. Doesn't matter how far it comes back, because we're stretching the front of the neck. Breathe in, back to centre. Breathe out, we're going to let the right ear drop towards the right shoulder, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Breathe in. Breathe out, over to the left. Breathe in. We're going to breathe out, we're going to turn the head round to the right. Breathe in, back to centre, breathe out to the left. Breathe in as we come back. So we're going to repeat that movement. So we breathe out, chin to the chest. Breathe in, breathe out, let the head drop back. Breathe in, breathe out, right ear to the right shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out to the left. Breathe in, breathe out, turning the head to the right. Breathe in, breathe out round to the left. Inhale, come back to centre. So again, you can repeat that as many times as you like. Bring the hands to the belly. Relax the shoulders. Strong through the legs. And breathe. Relax the arms, open the eyes. Okay, so you're probably wondering what I'm doing with the tennis ball, because I don't play tennis. I don't know if you do. This is magic, and you can take this anywhere. And I'll show you why it's magic. We're going to come just resting your hand against the wall on the back of a chair. And we're going to use this to massage our feet, and believe me, it is amazing. So you're going to take the ball, place it on the floor, and we're going to let the tennis ball, or any ball, doesn't have to be a tennis ball, it can be anything you want. Tennis balls are quite soft, so if you want something that's going to go a little bit deeper, use a slightly firmer ball. And all we're doing is we're massaging the foot. So we let the weight of the left side of the body move down to the tennis ball, and we let it do its work. So you can roll the tennis ball around the ball of the foot, put it on the side, the outside of the foot. Don't forget the arch, because that's an area that can feel very tired. This is great for anybody, but when you're pregnant and you're carrying extra weight of your baby, this is amazing. Don't forget the heel of the foot. And if you want to, you can stretch the toes. So you just press gently down through the toes, and they love it. Your feet will love you forever doing this. Quite amazing. And massaging the foot on the tennis ball. pass this on by all means, because it is amazing. You can do this sitting down as well. If you're sitting on the sofa, you can just get the tennis ball out, give yourself a little foot massage. So you don't have to be standing up to do this. If you find any areas of tension on your feet, you can just stay there and breathe. So when you inhale, imagine your whole foot expanding. Every cell in the foot expanding, and as you exhale, it relaxes into that soft place. Breathing. And release. And just bring the left foot to the floor and notice the difference between the left and the right foot. It's like the left foot is glued to the floor and the right foot's going, oh, what's up that too, please? It's quite amazing. Completely relaxes the bottom of the foot. So we're going to do the other side because it's only fair. Okay, you've got the right foot. Letting the weight move through the foot into the ball. And if you like, you can imagine that all the tension in your foot is going into the ball. So the tennis ball is taking away, literally carrying away your tension. Don't forget to work the outside of the foot, the heel, because the heels take a battering as well. And the arch, and right up into that tendon in the arch of the foot. Don't forget to breathe. Breath never stops. You can always make some sound to accompany this foot massage. And sigh. It's quite nice. It's releasing. Let's go of the tension. Again on the ball of the foot. Stretch the toes if you wish. You don't have to do this. If it feels uncomfortable, you don't have to. Breathing. Breathing and releasing. So you inhale. The foot is expanding, and as you exhale, the foot is releasing into softness. So the foot might resist for a while. If you stay with it, it will eventually let go and give in. And we're breathing. Okay. Come off the ball. Just bring both feet in contact with the floor and just notice, and it will have a ripple effect. So as your feet begin to relax, the rest of the body does the same because it wants to be that way. Okay, so again, bring the hands to the belly, close the eyes, take a couple of breaths. The hands up and the
One.
Okay, so we've done the warm-up, so we're going to do 3 poses. The first one is a squat, which is really, really good for pregnancy because it opens up the hips, gets the lower back moving as well. So there are a few ways we can do this. You can either do the squat resting the back against the wall, or you can hold on to the wall as you come down, or if you're comfortable squatting with your feet flat on the floor and your balance is good, you can just do that with not without using the wall. If you can't bring your feet flat on the floor, you can have a support under your heels. So that's either a block or books. Books are excellent. Big books, big chunky books. So I'm going to show you, first of all, using the wall. So you want to bring your feet wider than your hips. And you can either have the feet facing forward, so they're parallel, or you can have your feet just turned out. But bear in mind, the knees need to come over the feet so that we don't put any undue stress on the knees. So if you have got your feet turned out, then you need to make sure your knees are moving over the toes. Okay. So we're going to breathe in. You can either place the hands on the hips or you can have them by your side, whatever feels comfortable for you. Again, another option here is if you want, you can hold on to the back of a chair just to stabilise you. So we're going to breathe in. And we're going to breathe out, and we're bending the knees over the toes until you get to the point where your tailbone wants to come all the way down towards the floor. And here you can bring your hands to the inside of your knees. And you can stay there for as long as you feel comfortable. So if you're very comfortable in this position, you can just hang there quite happily, breathing. So when you breathe, breathing right down into the lungs, so your belly expands on the inhale, contracts on the exhale. So it feels like the lower half of your body is breathing. And then to come up, I'm going to engage the thigh muscles. So the thigh muscles are working. And just come up very slowly, back straight. And breathe. So if you want to do this holding onto the wall, again, have your feet wherever they're comfortable, either turned out or parallel. I'm going to breathe in, and as we breathe out, just using the hand on the wall to stabilise you. Try and keep the back straight, tailbone is moving down. Now breathe. So take as many breaths there as you wish. And then we're pressing down through the heels, engaging the thigh muscles. And we're coming up. And relax. And your feet under the hips, hands on the belly. And relax. Relax the belly, relax the shoulders. Breathing. Let the arms go, open the eyes. Okay, so we're on to the second pose, which is cat pose, Bidasana, which is excellent for the spine. It gets the spine moving, flexing and relaxing. And it also encourages the movement with the breath, the connection to the breath, but also encourages the belly to relax. So you have to let go through the belly. So we're going to come down to the floor and we're going to come on to all fours. So if you need to pad under your knees, you can just take a blanket to put under the knees. So the knees are comfortable. And if you have the knees hip distance apart, the backs of the feet relaxing on the floor. And then the hands come shoulders width apart, under the shoulders. And we're spreading the fingers as much as you can, middle fingers pointing forward, And we're just going to hug the earth with the fingertips. So the whole of the hand is pressing through to the floor. And the spine starts in a neutral position. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths there, just to connect with the breath. So again, we're breathing into the belly. Let go through the belly. And then on your next exhale, we're going to begin to arch the spine. So we begin from the tailbone. So the tailbone begins to curl down and under, and move up the spine until you're arching your back like a cat. Hence the name cat pose. And then we're inhaling, moving the tailbone so it's sticking out, so you're sticking your bum out. And the belly relaxed, moves down, and the head gently comes up. So again, we're going to exhale, starting from the tailbone. So it's a very slow movement of the spine with the breath. Exhale, arch, inhale, we let the belly drop down towards the floor and the head come up. So we exhale, tucking the spine, tailbone down and under, arching the spine. Inhaling. So you can do this quite slowly with the breath. You get the full benefit of this movement, this undulation of the spine. Inhaling. So when you get to the end of the inhale, just really let go through the belly. This is also quite a nice rocking motion for your baby. It's like the rocking chair without the rocking chair. Inhaling and exhaling. So again, you can do this as many times as you like. Exhale. Inhale, let go through the belly. Exhale. Inhale. So the more you do this, the more you'll find your spine can move. It becomes more flexible the more you do this movement. So we're just going to do a couple more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Arching the spine. Inhale, letting go through the belly, stick your bum out. And then we're going to bring the spine back to neutral. And then an option here is to bring the knees a little bit wider. And just come back onto the heels. And we can rest in child's pose. So if you can get your head down to the floor, that's fine. Otherwise you can rest on the folded arms. Or some people like to stack one fist on top of the other and rest the forehead there. Again, it's all what feels comfortable for you, so you can rest there for a little while before continuing on to the next pose. Okay, so we're on the last pose. It's another great one for the hips. Opening out the hips, relaxing them. and it's called Pregnacy or Cobbler pose. So we're on the floor. If your hips are quite stiff, you can sit right on the edge of a block. So I'll just show you what I mean by that. So we're not sitting on the block, right, square in the middle of it. We're sitting so it feels like you're going to fall off the block. Okay? So you can do that if your hips are quite stiff. I'm going to show you with the block. So Pregnacy. If you bring your feet out in front with the soles of your feet together, and then we're going to move them in towards the groin. So it doesn't matter where they are in relation to your body, as long as they're comfortable. So an option here, if it's pulling too much on the inner thigh and the groin, is you can put cushions underneath your legs just to support them. So you still get the stretch, but you're not stressing the body. So here, we're letting go through the buttocks and the buttock bones, letting go through the groin. And we're moving the spine in and up. So the spine is relaxed, it is long, letting go through the shoulders. And the hands can either come to the shins, or you can hold around the feet or the ankles, keeping the shoulders relaxed and the back nice and long. So again, you can do this using the wall. If you need a little bit of support, if the back's a little bit achy, you can use the wall for support. So this is Pregnacy, Cobbler pose. So here we can close the eyes. And again, we're breathing into the belly. Breathe right down into the base of the belly. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, the spine is moving in and up, relaxing the legs, the groin. And this is really good to do if you're finding it hard to sleep. You can do this in bed, brilliant. And you can prop yourself up with pillows, so you can do it sort of semi lying down as well. So it's a really, really good pose. It's multi-talented, this pose, because it also relaxes through the belly. It's good for the digestion. Works on strengthening the lower back. Relaxes the hips. Breathe into the belly. So you can begin to slow down the breath here if you want to. It's just an option. Keep the spine moving in and up. Relax through the groin and the legs, shoulders relaxed. So again, you can stay here for as long as you wish. We're just going to take a couple more breaths here. So you're also opening through the chest. come out of the pose, just release the hands. Supporting on the outside of your knees, we're going to bring the legs up. And then you can bring them out in front. Or, if you're able, you can sit cross-legged. I'm just going to show you a breathing technique which is really, really good for indigestion. If you're suffering from indigestion during your pregnancy, I know how that feels. So this is a really, really nice pranayama practice, which is excellent for digestion. And it's called the cooling breath. So either come to the floor, you can do this sitting in a chair, you can do it standing up, as long as you're comfortable and you can breathe freely. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn to roll our tongue. And if you can't do that, don't worry. So try, see if you can do it. You're just going to curl the tongue. So stick your tongue out and then see if you can curl the ends. It's like a little tube, it's like a straw. So if you can't do that, you can do this practice with your tongue sticking out. Like so. So see which one feels right for you. You can already feel that working. It's cooling. So we've got the mouth open during this pranayama. We're not doing it through the nose. So get yourself nice and comfortable and relaxed. And then take whichever tongue position, like that, or like that. Okay. And we're breathing, it's an inhale and an exhale through the mouth. So we're taking nice deep breaths. And it does dry the tongue out, so you need to wet it again and then start again. Dry tongue. It's quite amazing how much it cools. You can feel that cool air, so keep that going, keeping that cool air moving down. It moves right down into the stomach. So again, you can do that for as long, makes your mouth water as well, for as long as you feel that you want to. It might only take a few breaths to calm that indigestion. It might take a few more. It's all what works for you. So keep that going for as long as you like. And then we're going to come to the meditation. So before we do the meditation, I'm just going to talk about a position that's comfortable for you to do the meditation. So depending on how pregnant you are, how much indigestion you get, all those things make a difference to a relaxed position for you to do meditation. So you can do it sitting in a chair, you can do it sitting on the sofa, you can sit cross-legged to do this, you can lie down on your side with your top leg propped under a pillow. If it's comfortable to lay on your back, you can lay on your back. You can always bring the knees, have the knees bent so there's no pressure on the lower back. It's finding a position that's comfortable for you, and that will change as you get more pregnant. You know, you might be wanting to sit in bed propped up rather than laying down. So it's about working with your ever-changing body when you're pregnant. So find a position that is comfortable for you. You might want to take a blanket because as your body relaxes and cools down, you might start to get cold, so you might need a blanket. If you need something under your head, if you are lying down, if you need something under your head, take a pillow, anything like that. If you want, you can have an eye bag just to block out any light, if you like it dark when you meditate. So come to a comfortable position, and then we're going to begin the meditation, the Smile to Your Baby meditation. So this is the Smile to Your Baby meditation. It's about 15 or 20 minutes long. And it is a practice that brings a sense of confidence in your changing body. And it involves a connection to your baby. And it calms your mind, because there's a lot of breathing there. Calms the mind, and it's all about connecting to your baby and sharing that love. So you've come to a comfortable position for your meditation, sitting, lying down, whatever's comfortable for you. And you can do this at any time, so if you're doing it in the morning, it kind of opens up the day to many possibilities. If you're doing this at night, it's a good one to do at night because it relaxes you before you sleep. So you can do it all day long because it's brilliant. So you're going to close the eyes, and we're just going to start by connecting to the breath. So you can either have the hands on the belly, or you can rest them wherever's comfortable. So you're going to start to connect to your baby through the breath. So we're just going to take 8 long, relaxed breaths, breathing in. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that every cell in your body is expanding. And then as you breathe out, as you exhale, you're letting the body release into that softness. So we're inhaling and exhaling, breathing in, expanding through the body, breathing out as you release into that softness. Breath never stops. Inhale to exhale. Expanding into softness. Breathing. And releasing. Inhale to exhale. Expanding into softness. Breathing and releasing. Letting go through the back, shoulders, belly, face, even down to the feet and the toes. Every part of your body is letting go and relaxing. So we're going to take an inhale, a big breath in, and as you exhale, we're just going to let go with a sigh. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Breathe in. Place your hands hands on your belly. And I want you to consciously relax through the belly. So your baby begins to relax. So you might find that when you bring that awareness to your belly, you might be holding tension there. So it's when you inhale, imagine that area expanding, and as you exhale, you're letting go of that tension into that softness. So the belly becomes relaxed and soft. Breathing, inhaling, expanding through the belly, and as you exhale, releasing any tension through the belly. Breathing, inhale to exhale, expanding into softness. So if you want to, you can let go with a sigh. This just helps to release tension through the body, through the belly. So anytime you want to come back to that sigh with the exhale, you can come back to that. So we're going to bring the left hand to your heart center, and the right hand comes to the belly. So I want you to visualize the energy, the loving energy in your heart is moving from your left hand. It's moving up through the left hand and moves into your belly, to your baby through the right hand. So we're breathing. We're just breathing normal breaths, and we're sending that loving, healing energy from your heart, the left hand, through to your baby, through the right hand. Breathing, sending that loving, healing energy from your heart to your baby through the right hand. Keep breathing. Breathing, sending that energy to your baby. Connecting to your baby with that loving energy. Keep the breath going. Keep that energy moving. So you might see this as colour, or you might see it as white light. It might be a pure feeling. It might even be the word. You might be using the word to send that energy to your baby. Keep breathing, sending that energy. Breathing. So whether you're doing this meditation in the morning or at night, I want you to say either good morning or good night to your baby. Keep breathing. to say to your baby, I'm really excited to meet you. Keep breathing. Sending that loving energy to your baby. Take a big breath. And I want you to let a smile move across your face. And we're going to send that smile to your baby. Breathing. Smile to your baby. Breathing. Sending that smile. Couple more breaths, smiling to your baby. And keeping the hands where they are, we're just going to bring in some affirmations. So repeating to yourself with full awareness. Repeating the affirmations. I love being pregnant. I love how my body is changing. I feel really great in my body. I feel balanced and confident. I make all the right choices for me and my baby. I look forward to the birthing. I am excited for the day of the birth. I am excited for today. So take a nice long deep breath. Now I want you to know that there is space for your baby. The body makes the space for your child. There's no tension through the body. The body is relaxed and soft and has let go. Breathing. Just going to take a few more breaths here. And as you breathe in, expanding. Imagine every part of your body, every cell in the body is expanding. And as you breathe out, let the body release into that softness. Because in that softness, there is a strength. The body becomes strong in that relaxation. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, smiling. Exhale, send that smile to your baby. Taking a few more breaths there. Breathing and smiling. And you can release the hands, either bring them to your sides or to wherever's comfortable for you. Start to wake up the body to come out of the meditation. So whether you're lying down, you're sitting in a chair, you're just going to move the hands, the fingers, the toes and the feet. You can have a stretch here. You can stretch the arms, you can stretch the legs. And then, whichever way is comfortable for you to come out of the position you were in for the meditation, come out of it slowly. So you're either sitting in a chair or you're sitting on the floor. Coming out of meditation in your own time. So here, just come back to center and we take a couple of breaths. With the hands in prayer. Namaste.